Part 51. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 501. What? Joseph put down her hand and said in shock, you are actually the nanny's child. In other words, you were kicked out today. Li Cheng yelled, yes, it's all because of you. Zhu Cixi knew that she would not get any benefit from Li Cheng in the future, and she no longer had the gentleness before. She also roared, your own life experience has been exposed, what does it have to do with me? Li Cheng slapped her again, if you hadn't pestered me and seduced me, I wouldn't have insisted on marrying you, and my family wouldn't have tried to tell fortunes or figure out my true identity. Then he is still the young master of the Li family. Am I pestering you? Seducing you? Zhu Cixi's cheeks were red at this time, and her whole body was shaking with anger. It's your own sperm that has got into your head, it's you who were seduced by my beauty and your mind is not firm. When we first met, I ignored you and thought you were short. It was you who made me drink. When I woke up the next day, I had lost my virginity to you. It was you who said that your family owned a big company. As long as I didn't call the police, then marry me as a rich wife. Now that you actually say that I seduced you, I have seen you clearly. From now on, we will go back to each other, and we will be separated in one fell swoop. When Li Cheng saw her turning around and leaving, he grabbed her arm anxiously, you can't leave. I don't have much money now. You must return all the gifts I bought you before, especially those brand name bags and gold and diamond jewelry, give it all back to me. Zhu Cixi threw his hand away impatiently, give it back to you? I've been with you for so long, slept with you every day, and you slapped me twice just now, so those things should be considered as compensation. If you come to pester me again, I will sue you for and let's see who can fight with you. After saying that, she turned around and left without a trace of nostalgia. She originally thought she had found a diamond prostitute, but she didn't expect it to be a fake. She had to go back to work in the bar and find another rich man, which was really annoying. Li Cheng gritted his teeth. He was just a bartender, but she dared to speak to him like this. He saw the stones decorating the road next to him. Without thinking, he stepped forward, picked up the stones and rushed towards Jessie. After a while, Zhu Cixi was hit on the head by a stone, and she fainted instantly. Li Cheng suddenly calmed down when he saw Zhu Cixi lying in a pool of blood, threw the stone and ran away. The housekeeper had been paying attention to Li Cheng. When he saw his behavior, he notified Li's father and Li's mother and hurried out to see Zhu Cixi's condition. It's just that Li Cheng's attack was too serious. Zhu Cixi lost too much blood and fell into a coma. The housekeeper could only call the police and then an ambulance. After Zhu Cixi was sent to the hospital, rescue efforts failed and she died on the spot. Li Cheng was also quickly caught and brought to justice and sentenced to death. The real son of the Li family returned to the Li family, and the fate of the Li family completely changed from then on. Of course, this is all for later. After Qiao Sun told Li Cheng's fate, he cut off the connection and continued, everyone, please continue to send barrages. I still choose the person who is destined. 2 minutes later, she said, sleep until you wake up naturally. Congratulations. Sleep until you wake up naturally. Pay quickly and apply for a connection. After a while, a boy in his 20s appeared in the main live broadcast room. Sleep until you wake up naturally, hello, anchor. Little brother is so handsome. Haha, like a little fresh meat. This handsome guy is so young. Everyone, don't be crazy, if someone else has a girlfriend, do you want to be a mistress? Tisk, just thinking about it, it's not illegal. Just think about it. Qiao Sun, hello, what do you want to do? Sleeping until he wakes up naturally, anchor, I want to figure out my career. The situation is like this. I am a senior in high school this year and I am over 18 years old. When I was going shopping with my family, a man who claimed to be a talent scout said I have good conditions and good looks. They asked me to be a trainee in their company, and they said that I could earn more than 1 million a year at least. If I become famous in the future, even 100 million a year would be considered low. My academic performance is very good, but my family conditions are not particularly good. I have 3 younger brothers and sisters. My parents were very excited when they heard that I could make so much money in a year. They wanted me to stop studying and go directly to that talent scout. Once I become famous, they would be able to enjoy the blessings, and the tuition fees for my younger brothers and sisters would also be covered. But the talent scout also said that my teeth are not very straight and I am a bit hunched. I need plastic surgery in the early stage to correct my body shape. I have to pay 100,000 yuan to the company first. I just want to ask, if I really pay that 100,000 yuan, can I really become a star? Can I really make at least 1 million a year in the future? 100,000 yuan is equivalent to my family's income for several years. My parents said they would send me to sell iron, but I'm worried that if I fail, I will delay my studies and fail to get into a good university. Then I will be able to fetch water from a bamboo basket. It was all in vain. I didn't become a star, my studies were delayed, and my money was wasted. Why do I feel that the talent scout is a liar? I feel the same way. I think it's better to refuse. Ordinary people can't become stars. In today's entertainment industry, many are rich second generations. It's really difficult for ordinary people to become famous. I agree with you upstairs. Didn't the movie say that there are many unspoken rules in the entertainment industry? Not only girls are subject to unspoken rules, boys are also subject to unspoken rules. Haha, I am a woman, but if I were rich and a rich woman, I would also look for a young man. Upstairs, you. It's too direct. Speaking of which, having your teeth straightened and your hunchback corrected by yourself won't cost you more than 100,000 yuan. It's true that it can't be spent, and his teeth are much neater than most people. I don't think it will affect his image at all. Scammers will deliberately magnify the victim's shortcomings and make the victim feel inferior, thereby achieving his purpose of defrauding money. Qiao Ningxun counted on his fingers and said, "The talent scout you mentioned is indeed a liar." After sleeping until he woke up naturally, he felt a little regretful and said, "Sure enough, I thought I could really become a star in the future and lighten the burden on my family. But let me say something offensive. Host, do you have evidence to prove that that person is a liar? I made an appointment to meet him today, and I want to call the police to arrest him to prevent more people from being deceived." Qiao Ningxun, when will he meet you? Sleep until you wake up naturally. In just a few minutes, I am waiting for him in a coffee shop, and he will be here soon. Qiao Ningxun, I have evidence. When he arrives later, you just say yes, and then he will say that 100,000 yuan is too little, saying that you need to invest more money and pay a fee to make your appearance debut. 1 million is enough. He used to use this kind of rhetoric before, and even said that it was only 1 million, and he would make it back in one day when he became famous to dispel your worries. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 502. I woke up naturally and nodded. Just when I was about to speak, I saw someone coming and said, "He's coming." Qiao Ningxun remained silent for the time being. Qi Ming saw Bai Yu and sat opposite him with a smile. "Have you thought about it? This is a rare opportunity. I found 3 boys at the same time. If you don't agree, I can only find the other 2 personal. Those 2 people have good family conditions, and they can live a comfortable life whether they are going out or not. I also see that your family is really in trouble, so I want to give you this opportunity. You must seize the opportunity carefully. Don't miss the opportunity, it will never come back." This man is indeed a professional liar. Yeah, I'm in Pua again. Damn liar, go to jail. My brother was also deceived by a liar back then, and he followed the liar in the name of being good looking and able to make a career. As a result, the scammers sold him abroad. It took him 10 years to return home, which delayed his studies. Now he only has the education of a high school dropout, which often makes him hit a wall in his work. Upstairs, your brother and your family also have reasons, right? That's right, it's not all because of the liar. You still need to reflect on yourself more. This is the theory of victim guilt. Those of you upstairs who sympathize with liars are probably also potential fraudsters. That is, it is already very miserable for other people's families to be deceived, and you still want to add salt to other people's wounds. Thank you to the person who spoke for me. My parents are both disabled and I was born with problems with my legs. My brother is the only normal person in the family. He was very sensible at first and just wanted to reduce the burden on the family and perform surgery on us. We live a good life. It's too miserable for a family of 4 with 3 disabled people. I apologize. I also apologize. It's okay, what you said is also true. Bai nodded. I promise, I will only pay 100,000 yuan, right? My family said that they will support me even if they sell iron. Chi Ming laughed, that's right. If you don't want to leave your children, you can't trap the wolf. If you want to get huge returns, you must invest. After speaking, he stared at Baiyu's face for a while. If you want to enter the entertainment industry and become popular, you still need to adjust your face. Baiyu was stunned, and sure enough, Chang Sheng and Chang Sheng were right. He pretended to be worried and asked, isn't 100,000 yuan enough? Qi Ming nodded, it's really not enough. At least 1 million is needed. Baiyu was very embarrassed, 1 million is too much. My family will never earn 1 million in this life. Qi Mingdao, your family can't make it, but you can make it. As long as you become famous, if you are lucky, you can make it back in one day. Some of those actors can earn hundreds of millions for one movie. Your family can enter the upper class in this life. Haha, he is indeed a liar, exactly as the anchor said. This liar has been defeated today. These scammers are really abominable, they specialize in defrauding children from poor families. That is, if you have the ability to deceive rich people. Most wealthy people are well informed and discerning, and they are not easy to deceive. Of course, a few wealthy people are also short-sighted. Baiyu, but my family can't even afford 100,000. Qi Ming smiled and said, it's simple. Aren't there a lot of online loans now? Just take your ID card, record a video, and do face recognition, and you will be passed quickly. Not to mention hundreds of thousands, maybe a few dollars you can borrow even 1 million. Baiyu's face turned pale. Online loan? No, if I don't pay, I will die. Damn it, not only do you want to defraud money, but you also want to ruin other people's lives? Are online loans accessible to ordinary people? This liar is so wicked. I have a relative who jumped off a building because he owed 700,000 yuan for an online loan. Online loans are only suitable for people with strong self-control ability. For example, if you just borrow 10,000 to 20,000 yuan for an emergency, and you can pay it back within a month, then you can take advantage of it. But with weak self-control, borrowing money obviously exceeds what one can afford. For example, borrowing hundreds of thousands without a job is absolutely unacceptable. That's right, ordinary people can't touch it. Be careful of ruining your family and people. Qi Ming's face darkened and he seemed to be angry. What can you accomplish if you are so timid? Those celebrities have to speak in front of hundreds or even thousands of people every time they perform or film. You have to speak to them. When they learn, they need to be bold in what they do. Baiyu, I don't have stage fright. I have participated in speeches to thousands of people in the school. This is a fatal loan. How could I not be cautious? Chi Ming frowned, stood up quickly, and said impatiently, "It seems that you don't want to be famous, and you don't want to earn 100 million in the future. In that case, I won't waste my time on you." As he said that, he was about to leave. It's just that he kept looking at Baiyu with his peripheral vision. He was very confident that Baiyu would definitely agree to him in order to make money. Is this person acting? Definitely, this is retreat in order to advance. Threat, a clear threat. This liar is really abominable. He specializes in preying on the weaknesses of human nature. It's just that Baiyu didn't speak. Chi Ming was about to find the steps to stay on his own initiative. Two plainclothes policemen suddenly appeared beside him. One policeman showed his ID and asked, "Are you Chi Ming?" Chi Ming was startled. He didn't understand why the police suddenly appeared. He trembled and said, It's me. Police, someone reported you for defrauding a huge amount of money. Come with us." Chi Ming looked at Baiyu suddenly and said with a sinister look on his face, "Did you call the police?" Baiyu shook his head innocently, "It's not me, it's really not me." Chi Ming clenched his fists, knowing that questioning him would be useless, so he looked at the police. "What evidence do you have that I defrauded a huge amount of money?" A policeman looked at his mobile phone and said, "In your mobile phone, there should be chat records with various online loan companies and loan sharks, right?" The whistleblower said that every time you used your identity as a talent scout to force young people to give you money to reform them if they couldn't come up with the money, you introduced them to online loans or loan sharks. This is the third time you have committed a crime. The student you committed the first crime has committed suicide by jumping off the building. You are also suspected of causing death by negligence. His family members have seen you and are already waiting at the police station, waiting for you to go and be identified." Chi Ming's body trembled and he suddenly became desperate. It's over, he will definitely fall into trouble this time. As a victim, Baiyu was also asked by the police to go to the police station. Sitting in the police car, Baiyu said with a grateful face, "Anchor, thank you very much. If it weren't for you, I might really be deceived and my whole life would be ruined. Qiaoning Suan, study hard in the future. For ordinary people, there is no such thing as pie in the sky. If you have good grades, get into a good university, and be down to earth, your future will be bright." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 503. Chapter 503 Qiao Shuking, 1. Baiyu nodded, "Thank you, host, I understand." After speaking, he cut off the live broadcast. Seeing that the police officers were all not surprised, Baiyu asked curiously, "Aren't you curious, who am I talking to?" One of the policemen sighed and said, "If you're not curious, we also have people in that live broadcast room." Baiyu was stunned for a moment, and soon his face was full of joy. Even the police recognized the live broadcast room. It seems that he did not spend the carnival in vain. Qiaoning Sun checked the time and saw that he had just enough time to make lunch. After turning off the computer, she went straight to the kitchen. The housekeeper of the Suo family sent her dishes regularly, ensuring that there was fresh meat in her refrigerator at all times. Originally, they wanted to send vegetables, but Qiaoning Sun said there was no need. After all, the vegetables she grew on the attic had been stimulated, and it would be a waste to give them to her, so she refused. Opening the refrigerator and taking a look, she quickly thought of the menu. She picked vegetables herself, such as fish-flavored eggplant, stir-fried green beans, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, and cold cucumbers. In the refrigerator, I make spicy crayfish, steamed sea bass, sweet and sour pork ribs, stewed beef brisket with potatoes, braised abalone, pan-fried steak, steamed king crab, and finally a shrimp and tofu soup. With the blessing of immortal magic, she was very fast and finished it quickly. Hearing the ringing of the bell at the door, she looked at the door screen and quickly opened the door. You three are all together. Chu Yanyi, it's also a coincidence. He Yuanyang smiled and said, yes, he came out of the elevator as soon as we came up. Qiaoningsun didn't ask any more questions and asked them to wash their hands and sit down to eat. Looking at the whole table of delicacies, He Yuanhui twitched his index finger and said, it's been a long time since I tasted my cousin's cooking. Today I can enjoy a delicious meal. Qiaoningsun smiled and said, then you have to give me face and eat all the dishes today. He Yuanhui, no problem. This is Chu Yanyi's first time eating Qiaoningsun's dishes. After trying out the taste of each dish, he expressed admiration and said, your cooking skills are really good. He Yuanhui said proudly, that's right, my cousin's cooking skills are the best in our family. Qiaoningsun raised her eyebrows and said, Chu Yanyi, let me try your cooking skills next time. Chu Yanyi is also good at cooking and readily agreed, okay, I can do it anytime. The four of them ate quietly. The portions of these dishes are not large, and by the time all four of them were full, they were almost finished. He Yuanyang and He Yuanhui took the initiative to clear the table and wash the dishes. Qiaoningsun asked her cousin to lock the door for her later and asked Chu Yanyi to help her push 2 large suitcases. She also pushed 2 large suitcases and went out. After putting all the suitcases on Chu Yanyi's car, Qiaoningsun fastened his seat belt and asked, do you have a jewelry company in the capital? I have already extracted the jadeite, so I will sell it today. Chu Yanyi nodded and drove away from the community without asking any questions. Qiaoningsun asked, don't you ask me where I solved it? Or how did I solve dozens of rough stones overnight? Chu Yanyi smiled and said, when you want to say something, you will naturally say it. Even if I ask now, you will not say it. Qiaoningsun was very satisfied with his answer and said nothing more. Soon, the two went to a jewelry processing factory to sell the jade. The prices given by Chu Yanyi were very fair. Her jadeite is mainly imperial green, and she sold it for a total of 1 billion yuan. She is very satisfied. Sitting on the way home, Qiaoningsun received a phone call. Hey, you came to the capital? Okay, treat me to a meal? Okay, you can eat whatever you want. You can send me the location after you decide. Okay, bye. Chu Yanyi asked, did your elder brother beat you? Qiaoningsun nodded, well, he seems to have come to the capital to film a movie and asked me to have dinner. Chu Yanyi sighed. Qiaoningsun smiled and said, how about you go with me? Chu Yanyi, forget it, we are still young and have a long time to come. I don't care about this moment. It's rare for you and your eldest brother to be reunited, so I won't bother you. Qiaoningsun raised his eyebrows, that's okay. A Western restaurant in Beijing. When Qiaoningsun arrived, Suo Hongfeng had been waiting for her for a while. Seeing his sister arriving, Suo Hongfeng immediately stood up and pulled out the chair for his sister in a gentlemanly manner. Thanks. Suo Hongfeng returned to sit opposite and signaled the waiter to start serving the dishes. Qiaoningsun took a look at Suo Hongfeng's outfit. He just wore a wig and a pair of rimless glasses. You are dressed like this, and this is not a private room, so you are not afraid of people recognizing you. Suo Hongfeng said confidently, don't worry, no one will notice me in this position. As for those proxy photographers, even if they find me, the security of this restaurant will not let them in. Qiaoningsun was stunned, is this Xinyu Western restaurant also owned by the Sox Group? Suo Hongfeng smiled and said, smart, indeed. The taste here is very good. If you like it, you can take the card and enjoy it here in the future. Qiaoningsun nodded, well, I will come if I have the chance. What they didn't know was that they entered the restaurant one after another and had been photographed. However, Chiao Ningsun was wearing a mask when she came in, and her face was not photographed. An hour later, after the two of them finished eating, Suo Hongfeng planned to send Chiao Ningsun home. As soon as the two of them arrived at the underground parking lot, they saw a commotion in front of them, with more than 10 people surrounding them. The parking lot here is open to customers of many businesses around it, and there is quite a lot of traffic. Chiao Ningsun didn't want to worry about it, but she didn't know why. She always felt that she would regret it if she didn't go and take a look. She unbuckled her seat belt and said, "Brother, you go back first. I'll go back by myself later. I'll go check on the situation. There are many people over there, so you'd better not go there." Suo Hongfeng was delighted. "What did you call me just now?" Chiao Ningsun said helplessly, "Brother." She is not an illiterate person, and she knows exactly how Suo Hongfeng treats her. Suo Hongfeng felt happy, but still a little worried. "Go ahead, I'll wait for you, I don't worry about leaving you here alone." And let his father know that he left his sister alone in a strange place and ran away. He couldn't eat and had to walk around. Chiao Ningsun, "Okay, I'll come back as soon as possible." After saying that, she got out of the car and walked towards the crowd of onlookers. As soon as they passed by, I heard a man yelling angrily, "Stand up quickly and don't touch me. I've seen too many tricks of poor people like you. Don't you just want money? Okay, 500 yuan, okay." A woman sat on the ground holding an unconscious child, crying, $500. Do you think my daughter's life is only worth $500? She was knocked unconscious by you, and there was blood on her head. How can $500 be enough for so much blood? The woman next to the man said, "Who knows whether the blood is real? What if you use fake blood to deceive people?" Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 504. Chapter 504 Chiao Shuking, 2. Chiao Ningsun glanced at the two people, and it turned out that two kinds of people couldn't sleep in the same bed. "I'm not lying," the woman looked at the people around her anxiously. "Can any of you please help me call the police? My mobile phone is out of battery. If possible, please call an ambulance." "Don't worry, I'll call the police for you. I'll call an ambulance for you." When the man who hit the person, Han Dakiu, heard this, he looked at the onlookers displeased, with a threatening tone in his voice, "You'd better not mind your own business, my car just touched the child lightly. That's all. The kid was fine before you came." They deliberately lied. If you call the police later, if you are accused of making a false police report, you will be reprimanded by the police and pay the 120 fee. The onlookers were stunned. Although they knew he might be bluffing, they gave up calling the police and calling 120 in order not to cause trouble. The woman sitting on the ground looked at her unconscious daughter in her arms and shouted anxiously, "He is lying. It was his car that hit my daughter. Please be kind and help me." Han Dakiu's girlfriend Yang Kikai knew she was a poor woman when she saw her clothes, and turned around with disdain. "Let's all leave. It's just a prostitute. These poor people can do anything for money." Some people really believed what Yang Kikai said and turned around to leave. Chiao Ningsun, who was not far away, just saw the woman's appearance and immediately took a photo for Chiao Shulan. Chiao Shulan saw the photo and replied anxiously, "Where is this person?" "She is your aunt." Chiao Ningsun breathed a sigh of relief. She hadn't seen her aunt in more than 10 years. Her family was very poor more than 10 years ago, and she didn't have any photos of her aunt. She really couldn't remember her appearance, so she could only confirm it with Chiao Shulan. She also figured it out, but there was no part about this person's identity. "Don't worry, I will take good care of her in the capital. You hold her steady first, and your grandparents and I will buy tickets and come over right away. Okay, be careful on the road. Jiao Ningxun put away her mobile phone and quickly stepped forward to feel the child's pulse. Seeing this, Jiao Shuking looked at Jiao Ningxun expectantly. Han Daqiu originally thought he had fooled everyone, but when he saw Jiao Ningxun coming over, he frowned and said, "What are you doing?" "Jiao Ningxun, I am a doctor." Han Daqiu frowned, "You are not in the same group, are you?" Jiao Ningxun looked at the girl's forehead, took out a simple medical kit from the bag, briefly sterilized and bandaged the girl to stop the bleeding, then turned around and said, "A group? In order to escape the fact that you hit someone while driving drunk, so it's just like this. Drunk driving and hit someone?" Everyone looked at Han Daqiu at the same time. Han Daqiu and Yang Kikai were startled when they heard this. Some of them were really not afraid of death. Seeing everyone looking at him, Han Daqiu frowned and said, "What are you talking about? How could I be drunk? Is there a smell of alcohol in my mouth? Don't frame me. I think you are in the same group, just to touch each other, porcelain me and extort my money." Jiao Ningxun said quietly, "I won't argue with you. The police and ambulance will be here soon. You can explain to the police yourself then." Han Daqiu was startled and said with fear on his face, Did you really call the police?" Jiao Ningxun rolled her eyes at him, "I don't like to lie to people." Yang Kikai stepped forward excitedly, reaching out to push Jiao Ningxun, but she didn't expect Jiao Ningxun to react quickly and take a step back. "Why are you meddling in your own business here?" Jiao Ningxun raised her eyebrows, "You don't say that I am in the same group as their mother and daughter now." "You." Jiao Ningxun glanced at the two of them separately, "If you continue to mess around here and distort the facts, I will send the video recorded on my phone to the police of how you framed this mother and daughter. Drunk driving and trying to escape. And falsely accused the victim. I wonder how long your sentence will be, Han Daqiu, if you go to court." Han Daqiu was startled. How do you know my name?" Jiao Ningxun said coldly, "I have no obligation to tell you." Han Daqiu wanted to say something else, but the police and ambulance arrived one after another. The doctor saw the ground and immediately stepped forward to diagnose and treat her. A policeman asked, "Who called the police just now?" "It's me." Jiao Ningxun pointed at Han Daqiu, "This person drank and hit someone while driving while drunk. He didn't send the person to the hospital in time. He even falsely accused them of having sex, intimidated passers-by and refused to call the police." The policeman frowned and looked at Han Daqiu, "Is that so?" Han Daqiu of course denied it, "No." But before he finished speaking, Jiao Ningxun said, "Do you really want to continue to deny it? The crime will be increased by 1 degree. Han Daqiu stiffened and said dejectedly, "I don't deny it, she is right." Jiao Shuking breathed a sigh of relief when she saw this. She felt her vision go dark and fell straight back. There was another uproar, and both mother and daughter were carried into the ambulance. Han Daqiu and his wife were also taken away by the police. Jiao Ningxun returned to Suo Hongfeng's car and said, "Brother, take me to the first hospital in Beijing. I have found my aunt." Suo Hongfeng did not hesitate and asked while driving, "It seems that today is all thanks to you, otherwise your aunt would die of panic." Jiao Ningxun, count me lucky. Soon, the car stopped at the number 1 hospital. Jiao Shuking also woke up midway, refused the doctor's suggestion to check her again, and personally watched her daughter enter the operating room. Jiao Ningxun and Suo Hongfeng walked to her side together. "Jiao Ningxun, don't worry, her life will not be in danger." Jiao Shuking turned her head when she heard the voice and said with gratitude, "Miss, thank you very much. If it weren't for you, I really don't know what I would have done today." Seeing Suo Hongfeng, Jiao Shuking also nodded to him politely. Jiao Ningxun shook his head, "You're welcome." Jiao Shuking looked at the time and said, "You are so young, you should still be a student, right? You should go home first, so as not to worry your parents. Chiao Ningsun had just informed He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Huai on the way. Before they came, of course she had to keep an eye on Chiao Shuking. It's okay. We are still on vacation anyway. It's only 8 o'clock now. It's very close to my home. Not urgent. Seeing her say this, Chiao Shuking stopped insisting and continued to look at the door of the operating room worriedly. Chiao Ningsun looked at Zuo Hongfeng again. Brother, why don't you go back first? I won't leave for the time being. Chiao Shuking looked at them in surprise. She originally thought they were a couple, but turned out to be brother and sister. Zuo Hongfeng checked the time and saw that he would indeed have something to do tomorrow morning. Remembering that this was the first hospital in Beijing, he called his friend at the hospital and asked him to take special care of him. He turned around and said, "Okay, I'll leave first. You have to be careful." Chiao Ningsun nodded, "Yeah." Not long after Zuo Hongfeng left, He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Huai arrived. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 505. Chapter 505 Chiao Shuking, 3. The injured girl is still in the operating room. Chiao Shuking heard footsteps behind her, turned around and saw two young men running over. She thought it was Chiao Ningsun's family, and hurriedly stepped forward to explain to them, "You two, don't scold this young lady. She did it all because she helped me." When Chiao Shuking left her two children behind, He Yuan Yang also had memories. Seeing the woman in front of him, although she was much older, He Yuan Yang recognized her as his mother at a glance. His eyes turned red and he said excitedly, "Mom." Chiao Shuking was stunned. Before she could react, He Yuan Huai shouted excitedly, "Mom." Chiao Ningsun said seriously, "You are Chiao Shuking, I am Chiao Shulan's daughter. I used to be Yuan Ningsun, but now I am Chiao Ningsun." Chiao Shuking's face suddenly changed and she looked at them in horror. You. When she left, the children were still very young. When she first saw them, she really didn't recognize them at all. She never thought that her relatives would actually find her in the capital, thousands of miles away from Nanjing. He Yuan Yang cried and said, "Mom, I am He Yuan Yang, he is He Yuan Huai, we are your sons, don't you recognize us?" He Yuan Huai also cried and said, "Mom, where have you been all these years? If my cousin hadn't said you were alive, we would have thought you are gone." Chiao Shuking suddenly turned her head and said with a cold face, "You have recognized the wrong person. I am not Chiao Shuking." Chiao Ningsun suddenly took out an ID card. "If you are not Chiao Shuking, then whose ID card belongs to you?" "Sorry, Auntie, if you hadn't been so stubborn, I really wouldn't have wanted to use my teleportation magic on you." Chiao Shuking turned her head suddenly and saw that her ID card was actually in Chiao Ningsun's hand. She quickly touched her pocket and found that it was really gone. "You?" Chiao Shuking said in shock, "Why is my ID card in your hand?" Chiao Ningsun returned the ID card to her and said helplessly, "Just think I'm quick." He Yuan Yang sobbed and said, "Even now, don't you still admit that you are our mother?" Chiao Shuking felt uncomfortable seeing her son crying. Chiao Ningsun said, "Auntie, is there something wrong with you that you are worried about hurting us, so you don't want us to know?" Chiao Shuking was startled. She didn't expect Chiao Ningsun to be so smart. Looking at the operating room, she felt that her legs were a little weak, so she walked to the chair and sat down. He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Huai squatted in front of their mother at the same time. He Yuan Yang, "Mom, if you have something that is inconvenient to tell us, then just listen to us. Not long after you left, I got leukemia." Chiao Shuking said in horror, "Leukemia can kill people, so now you." He Yuan Yang, "Thanks to my second aunt and grandpa and grandma, they were the ones who borrowed the money when I needed it." There are also many kind-hearted people in Daguo village. People, they donated money to me and collected enough medical expenses, so you can see me now. Huny, my eldest brother almost died at that time. Chiao Shuking looked at her eldest son's face and felt extremely distressed. Yes, I'm sorry, I wasn't with you at that time. Yang, Mom, if you really feel sorry for me, then you can recognize us. Huny also said, yes, Mom, my second aunt got divorced not long after you left. It was my second aunt and my grandparents who raised us together. My cousin was always abused by Yuan Deshan, even every day she didn't even have enough to eat. She knew it was difficult for her second aunt to raise us too, and she also had to take care of her grandparents. Even though Yuan Deshan was not good to her, she didn't come back for many years. She didn't come back until her cousin had a car accident the year before last. The second aunt's side also changed her surname to follow her second aunt's surname. Chiao Shuking looked at Chiao Ningsun with a distressed look on her face. I'm sorry, I have suffered you all these years. I owe it to you, mother and daughter. Chiao Ningsun, Auntie, as long as you can go home safely, neither my mother nor I will care. Yang, yeah, it's really not easy for the second aunt. Our family really owes a lot to the second aunt, and we also owe a lot to our cousin. Huny, after my cousin came home, I wanted to drop out of school and go work. Thanks to my cousin's tutoring, I was able to get into Hwaseong University. Chiao Shuking was stunned. Hwaseong University? You actually got into such a good university. Huny looked proud. That's not just me, my eldest brother and cousin are also in Hwaseong University, and we are all in the same department. My eldest brother is a sophomore this year, and my cousin and I are freshmen. Chiao Shuking glanced at the three of them in shock. You are really amazing. Now you are all studying in the capital. It must be difficult for your second aunt and grandpa. Your family has to support 3 college students at the same time, and the expenses in the capital are high, very high. The more she talked, the more worried Chiao Shuking became. What should I do? Huny looked at each other with his younger brother and cousin respectively, tacitly not intending to reveal the current financial situation of his family for the time being. Huny said, Mom, so you should come back and recognize us. We are your sons. Can you bear to let your second aunt support the 3 of us in college alone? Grandpa and Grandma are old again. It's really not easy. Chiao Shuking glanced at the lights in the operating room that were still on, then looked at the 3 children in front of her, crying, I don't have the shame to go back. I know it's not easy for you, the second aunt. Give me your bank card account number. I'll give each of you 600 yuan a month for living expenses. I don't have any more. You all have seen that I have a child and I have to plan for her. Huny asked seriously, Mom, let's not talk about the money for now. What's going on with that child? Is she our biological sister? Also, why did you abandon us and leave us in the first place? Chiao Shuking nervously pinched her right hand with her left hand, struggled internally for a moment, and sighed, Okay, now that you have found me, I won't hide it from you. That's it? The 3 of them listened quietly. It turns out that after her divorce, Chiao Shuking also wanted to find her ex-husband and remarry him. But when she saw that her ex-husband had a new relationship, she gave up. She originally wanted to go home, but thinking that a divorced woman could not make money in the countryside and could not support her 2 children, she wanted to work in a place with high wages. She went to a labor agency, and the agency quickly introduced her to a job, but it was in Shanghai, and for money, she had no choice but to go there. At that time, she wanted to call home, but she didn't have a mobile phone, so she had to go to a public phone box. The agency happened to rush her at that time and told her to leave quickly, otherwise her job would be taken away. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Ching Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 506. Chapter 506 Jiao Shuking, 4. She was worried about losing her good job, so she planned to notify her family when she arrived in Shanghai. After going there, she realized that she had been deceived. If you want to make 10,000 yuan a month, you basically have to work 18 hours a day. Handled into the factory every day and not allowed to communicate with the outside world. The factory was filled with the smell of low-quality plastic. Even though she was wearing a mask, her body couldn't stand it after working for half a month. She proposed to resign, but the company said she would not be paid if she did not work for 1 month. The agency even said that if she left early, she would have to pay the agency company 5,000 yuan in liquidated damages. She had no choice but to work hard. It wasn't long before her body couldn't bear it anymore and she fainted at work. And as luck would have it, her head hit a sharp object. The people at the factory may have known that she was a foreigner and had no one to rely on in Shanghai. After sending her to the hospital, she disappeared. And when she woke up in the hospital, she had lost her memory of everyone in Lao Jiao's family, and ran out of the hospital in a daze, trying to find her way home. Later she fainted on the roadside, but Zhang Liuqi rescued her. Zhang Liuqi was in his 30s and had not yet married a wife. Seeing that she had lost her memory, he hid her ID card, said she was his wife, and took her back to his home. At this point, she has lived in the countryside of Shanghai for many years. Although Zhang Liuqi lied to her, he was really kind to her. Whatever good things he had, he would only give them to her, and he even rebelled against his parents and brothers many times for her sake. All the money earned was given to her, and she was never left hungry or cold. Zhang Liuqi also had a good temperament. He did not drink, smoke, or gamble. While losing her memory, she was moved by Zhang Liuqi and fell in love with him. A few years ago, she gave birth to a girl. Zhang Liuqi was very happy and felt that he was the daughter of an old man and treated her better. But Zhang Liuqi's family thought she was giving birth to a girl and had strong objections to her. Last year, Zhang Liuqi fell ill and died. Before his death, he gave her her ID card. Zhang Liuqi's family felt that she had killed the man, so they drove the mother and daughter out of the house. She recovered a little memory due to an accident, but she still couldn't remember the memory of Deguo village. She heard that the wages in the capital were also high, so she ran to the capital. Fortunately, she met a kind company who agreed to let her take care of her daughter while working. It was also in the past few months that she gradually recovered her past memories because of some things she encountered. But when she thought about leaving her 2 sons in her hometown for more than 10 years, she was worried that if she suddenly returned, she would be accused of having grown up, so she let her children take care of them. Furthermore, she felt sorry for her sister and parents and was too embarrassed to go back, so she stayed in the capital. The 3 brothers and sisters felt better when they heard that Jiao Shuking had not returned home because of amnesia, and that it had only been a few months since she had recovered her memory. Their mother, aunt, did not stay home on purpose. Jiao Ningxun asked, "Auntie, when you got the ID card, you didn't regain much memory. Why didn't you go home as soon as possible? There is an address on the ID card." Jiao Shuking was a little embarrassed. At the beginning, Zhang Liuqi's family said that I might have been kicked out of the house, otherwise I wouldn't have gone to Shenzhen to work alone. I believed what they said. He Yuanyang asked, "Mom, have some people in the Zhang family abused you?" Jiao Shuking hurriedly asked, "What do you want to do?" He Yuanhui said, "Mom, do you still need to ask? They bullied you before, didn't they? Just think that you didn't have the support of your family. Now that we have found you, we will support you. Tell me, how did they bully you?" We two brothers will make the decision for you. Xiao Shuking was very pleased and said, they didn't go too far, they just said it a bit harshly. But let the past go. I just want my daughter to be safe now. As she said that, she looked towards the operating room. The child's name is Zhang Xiaoxiao. She is 5 years old this year. She is Yuan Yang and Yuan Hui. She is your half-sister. She has not been in good health since she was a child. She has been sick every 3 days. She was not feeling well for a few days, so I took her with me. I am now helping in the kitchen of a restaurant, and I don't usually have contact with those rich people. I didn't expect that I met that rogue today and hurt my daughter. You've wrongfully accused me of cheating. He Yuan Yang patted his mother on the shoulder and comforted him, Mom, don't worry, that person will be punished by law. Now that you have met us, your life will not be difficult in the future. Xiao Shuking asked very uncomfortably, are you really willing to forgive me? I have made you unhappy since childhood, don't you blame me? He Yuan Yang shook his head, you had no choice but to do it, so I don't complain. He Yuan Hui, I don't complain either. Xiao Shuking looked at Xiao Ningxun again, Ningxun, I made your mother and grandparents' lives very difficult, and I'm sorry for you too. Xiao Ningxun sighed, Auntie, just like you just said, let the past go. Now the three of us are in college, and our lives are getting better. Xiao Shuking breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, the lights in the operating room were turned off. Everyone quickly walked to the door. Xiao Shuking saw the doctor coming out and asked anxiously, Doctor, how is my daughter? The doctor said, don't worry, her life is no longer in danger. She just suffered a head injury, lost too much blood, and had some concussion. The wound has been sutured. She will be observed in the hospital for a few days and then go home to rest for a while. Xiao Shuking was relieved, thank you doctor. Soon, Zhang Xiaoxiao was also pushed out, but she was still in a coma. The group followed the hospital bed to Zhang Xiaoxiao's ward. Xiao Shuking suddenly thought of something and picked up her mobile phone to call her supervisor, Director Lin, my daughter was in a car accident and is still unconscious in the hospital. I would like to take a few days off. Manager Lin, ask for leave. Don't you know that these days are a long holiday? The kitchen is already extremely busy, and you still want to ask for leave? How do you want me to arrange my work? Xiao Shuking prayed, Director Lin, I have no choice. I can't leave my daughter in the hospital. She is only 5 years old. She can't see me when she wakes up. Something will happen. Supervisor Lin, the boss has promised to let you bring your child to work, so you can bring your child over. There is still room for a child to sleep. Xiao Shuking, she still needs infusion treatment and cannot be discharged from the hospital. Supervisor Lin said impatiently, then let others take care of it for you. Xiao Shuking, I don't want to trouble others. After all, she is my biological daughter. Supervisor Lin lost all his patience and roared, then you don't have to come, I'll recruit again. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 507. Chapter 507 Xiao Shuking, 5. Xiao Shuking suddenly panicked, are you going to fire me? I need money, I can't lose this job. Director Lin, that's your business, not mine. Consider yourself unlucky. After saying that, he hung up the phone. Xiao Shuking stared at her phone blankly. She was actually fired? How will she provide living expenses for her 3 children in the future? How do you support yourself and your daughter? He Yuan Yang felt very distressed when he saw his mother's eyes turned red instantly. He said with concern, Mom, don't be sad. Such an impersonal supervisor will make it difficult to work in the future. It doesn't matter if you don't do it. He Yuan Huadeo said, yes, We don't need your living expenses. We can support ourselves and you. Chiao Shuking sighed heavily. Actually, the boss of the company is quite nice, but the new supervisor is the boss's brother-in-law, so it's a bit difficult to get along with him. Chiao Ningxuan, it turns out to be a related household. You can't stay in that kind of company any longer. You will suffer a lot of grievances. Chiao Shuking smiled bitterly and nodded. Yes, I understand too. It seems that she can only find a job after her daughter is discharged from the hospital. He Yuanyang didn't want Chiao Shuking to continue to worry about work, so he asked, Mom, you haven't had dinner yet. I'll buy you dinner. Chiao Shuking was not polite to her son. She took out her wallet and wanted to give her son money. He Yuanyang quickly stopped. Mom, I have money, you don't have to give me money. By the way, you just said you would give me 600 yuan a month for living expenses, so there is no need to give it to me. We have money. He Yuan, yes, you don't have to give it to me. Chiao Ningxuan, Auntie, you can keep it for yourself. Chiao Shuking frowned, but you are all students, and the conditions at home are like that. If I don't give you money, it will be too hard for your family. He Yuanyang and He Yuanhui looked at Chiao Ningxuan at the same time. Everything in the family is because of her. Only she is qualified to decide whether to disclose the situation at home. Chiao Ningxuan said, Auntie, don't worry, our family has contracted some land now, and we are still rich. We can still earn tens of thousands of yuan a month. As for other situations, let's wait and talk about it later. Although she believed that there would be no white-eyed wolves in Lao Chiao's family, her aunt had not seen them for many years, and they did not yet understand her character. They would slowly tell her about the situation at home when they understood her well. Chiao Shuking was stunned. 10,000 yuan a month? Contracted the land. Chiao Ningxuan nodded, yes, so you don't have to worry about our living expenses. I also bought pension insurance for my grandparents. They can get money every month. The conditions at home are now better than before, but more than below. Chiao Shuking felt a little guilty. It seems that you worked very hard when you were in your hometown. But I was outside and didn't help you much. He Yuanyang didn't want his mother to mention those things in the past again. Mom, I'll buy you dinner. Good. After He Yuanyang left, Chiao Shuking looked at He Yuanhui. It's getting late. You can send your cousin back to school. It's some distance from Huaxia University. Chiao Ningxuan smiled and said, Auntie, I have no classes tomorrow, so let me stay with you here. Before her mother and grandparents arrived, she had to watch the person in person. Chiao Shuking said, no, since you don't want to leave now, then go back with your cousin later. I'll be fine here alone. Chiao Ningxuan didn't want to waste time on this kind of thing, so she said directly, Auntie, we are not leaving. No matter what you say, I will not leave. I will come back as soon as I go. Chiao Shuking sighed helplessly when she saw Chiao Ningxuan leaving. He Yuanhui said, Mom, just let us accompany you. Chiao Shuking said, you were really raised by your second aunt, and you are as stubborn as her. He Yuanhui smiled and said, second aunt often said this before, but she said that we are worthy of being your children, and we are as stubborn as you were when you were a child. Chiao Shuking choked up, then you must have been angry with your second aunt when you were young. He Yuanhui rubbed his head sheepishly, that was all during the rebellious period. My eldest brother has always had better grades than me, but my second aunt didn't worry about it. My grades were not good, and I even wanted to drop out of school and work. Chiao Shuking felt a little uncomfortable. You want to lighten the burden on your family, right? Seeing this, He Yuanhui said with a relaxed expression, yes, but my cousin came back at that time and took us to sell loquats and pick mushrooms. We made a lot of money from the sales, so we had the capital to contract the land. My cousin also took their brothers to gamble on stones, so that they no longer had to worry about money. He didn't say the last sentence, so as not to scare her. Chiao Shuking sighed. It seems that the family can become richer, thanks to Ning Xuan. I didn't expect that such a skinny little girl could be so capable. He looked proud. Yes, that is my cousin, just like her father, she is very powerful. Chiao Shuking was stunned. Her father? Yuan Des Han. No, it's her biological father. As you know, my cousin was the child that my second aunt borrowed sperm to have. This year, the man who provided the sperm appeared, and he also wanted to recognize my cousin. Before Yuan Des Han, so now he is in prison and has redeemed himself. Chiao Shuking was shocked. She didn't expect that so many things had happened to her family in recent years. That's right, Chiao Shuking suddenly thought of the man who came with Chiao Ningxun and asked, Ningxun came here with another man just now. He was wearing sunglasses and his hair was very fashionable. I heard her call him Big Brother. He knew who she was talking about as soon as he heard it. You're talking about Zuo Hongfeng, right? That is her biological father's biological son, or her cousin's biological eldest brother. The Suo family needs to recognize it. Cousin, but my cousin has concerns. She just went back to Suo's house for dinner and has not agreed to go there for the time being. Chiao Shuking said in surprise, Suo Hongfeng? Why do I feel that this name is so familiar? He smiled and said, I guess you have heard of him on TV or from Star Chasers. He should be the top star among our Chinese stars now. So it's him, Chiao Shuking said in surprise. I didn't expect Ningxun's eldest brother to be such a famous person. Soon, He Yuanyang came back with food. Mom, there's nothing good to eat around here. You can eat as much as you want. I brought lean meat porridge to my sister. Chiao Shuking, sorry to trouble you. After she finished eating, Chiao Ningxun came back, followed by a nurse. Chiao Shuking saw the nurse coming in and pushing the bed and walked outside. She said in horror, did something happen to my daughter? A nurse said, your niece is filial to you and thinks you are working hard in the multi-person ward, so she changed your ward to a VIP ward. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 508. Chapter 508 finally met. Chiao Shuking was stunned, and just as she was about to refuse, the nurse had already pushed the hospital bed out. She quickly came to Chiao Ningxun and said disapprovingly, Ningxun, the VIP ward is too expensive, let's stay here. You still need money to study in college, so you need to save some money. Chiao Ningxun, when we go to the VIP ward, our attendants also have a place to rest. Half of the reason is because I can have a good rest myself. Chiao Shuking, but it's not easy for you to make money. Chiao Ningxun smiled and said, it's okay, I'm in business, and I'm the top scorer in science in our province this year. I got a huge scholarship and have money. Besides, with this money, Han Daqiu will pay for reconciliation. Of Ningxun's grades are really good, top scorer in science. Chiao Shuking took another look at what her sons and niece were wearing. The quality seemed to be extraordinary. She could tell that the clothes her sons were wearing were famous brands. But she couldn't see it on her niece. But since Han Daqiu would pay, she wouldn't refuse. Arriving at the VIP ward, after the nurses carried the patient to the bed and left, Chiao Shuking asked curiously, Ningxun, what business are you doing? Chiao Ningxun, Auntie, you will know later. Anyway, you can get 100,000 yuan a month. Chiao Shuking's eyes widened in astonishment. 100,000 yuan a month? Oh my god, her niece is rich? Could it be that the Suo family helped her? Chiao Shuking was silent, but she was relieved. Her family was doing well, and she felt better inside. The VIP ward that Chiao Ningxun ordered was a suite with only one bed for family members to rest on. but she asked the nurse to bring in a folding bed. So tonight He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Hui sleep on the folding bed, while Chiao Ningsun and Chiao Shuking sleep on the bed in the lounge. It's just that Chiao Shuking really didn't feel sleepy, so she asked Chiao Ningsun to sleep first, while she kept guarding her daughter. Chiao Ningsun had no objection and went to bed first. He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Hui stayed up until 12 o'clock and also went to bed. Early the next morning, Chiao Ningsun woke up and quickly woke up her cousin and cousin. After they finished washing up and having breakfast, Chiao Shulan and her parents arrived. At this time, Zhang Xiaoxiao had also woken up. After drinking some porridge, Chiao Shuking was planning to introduce someone to her. But before it even started, there was a knock on the door of their ward. Chiao Ningsun opened the door and motioned for them to come in. Chiao Shuking turned her head and saw the person coming. She dropped the spoon in her hand to the ground, stood up quickly, and said in a trembling voice, "Dad, Mom, second sister." Ye Kaixiang stepped forward and hugged her daughter, crying, "You heartless child, you haven't come home for so many years, and you haven't told us whether you are dead or alive. You almost drove us to death. Yesterday, we received a call from Ning before Sun's call. I really thought I would never see you again in this life." Chiao Kongsheng also said, "Yes, Shuking, you are still alive, why don't you go home? Why don't you get a call? Do you know how anxious we are? We all plan to call the police if we can't find you again." Chiao Shuking let her mother hug her and said with tears in her eyes, "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry, I really have my own reasons." Chiao Ningsun promptly said what Chiao Shuking had said before, "That's it? Grandpa, Grandma, Mom, and Aunt didn't intentionally not contact us. She has lost her memory and there's nothing she can do about it? What? Amnesia?" Ye Kaixiang let go of her eldest daughter and looked at her whole body several times. "Then are you okay now? Are you feeling uncomfortable in any way?" Chiao Shuking shook her head, "I'm fine, she's my daughter. Got into a car accident and is in hospital now." Ye Kaixiang followed the eldest daughter's gaze and saw Zhang Xiaoxiao woke up at some point, looking frightened and staring at her with fear on her face. "This is your daughter?" Ye Kaixiang was shocked. Chiao Kongsheng and Chiao Shulan also looked at Zhang and smiled. Chiao Shuking nodded, "Yes, she is my biological daughter. Her name is Zhang Xiaoxiao. She is 5 years old this year." Ye Kaixiang's attention was diverted in an instant. She checked Zhang Xiaoxiao's head with concern and asked softly, "Xiaoxiao, I am your grandma, does your head still hurt?" Zhang Xiaoxiao shook her head blankly, "No. It doesn't hurt anymore, Grandma." Hey, Ye Kaixiang's heart almost melted because of her little granddaughter, she was so cute. She took out a thick red envelope from her bag and put it in her arms. "Grandma is meeting you for the first time. This is the red envelope for meeting you. Take it." Chiao Shulan also took out the red envelope and placed it under her mother's red envelope. The thickness was not inferior to her mother's. "Xiaoxiao, I am your second aunt. It is our first time to meet you. My second aunt also gave you a red envelope for meeting you. When I received a call from my daughter yesterday, she asked them to prepare the red envelope." This was the first time Zhang Xiaoxiao received a red envelope from an outsider besides her parents, and she looked at her mother in panic. Chiao Shuking knew by looking at the thickness that there was a lot of money in the red envelope, and advised, "Mom, second sister, it's not easy for you to make money, take it back. You have helped me take care of my children for so many years, it's my turn to give you money, how can I do it the other way around, ah?" She knew that they wanted to give her money, but were worried that she would not accept it, so she deliberately gave the child thick red envelopes. Chiao Kongsheng snorted, "That's what we gave Xiaoxiao, not for you. You have no right to say it." Chiao Shuking choked, knowing that her father still complained about her not coming home for many years. This was indeed her fault. She couldn't say anything else, so she nodded to her daughter. Zhang Xiaoxiao received the agreement, held the red envelope and said softly, "Thank you, Grandpa and Grandma, and thank you, second aunt." Upon seeing this, He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Hui glanced at Jiao Ningxun resentfully, and started to touch their wallets almost at the same time. That's right, how could they miss out on the red envelopes when they meet? The cousin did not inform them in advance. Jiao Ningxun looked at their eyes, smiled helplessly, took out a red envelope and gave it to each of them. "It has been prepared for you a long time ago. I have notified the elders, how could we not prepare ours?" The two brothers suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. They treated the money as a loan, and they would transfer it back to their cousin later. "Xiao Xiao, I am your eldest brother, and this is my red envelope." "Xiao Xiao, I am your second brother, and this is my red envelope." "Xiao Xiao, I am your cousin, and this is my red envelope." Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at her mother with embarrassment as she saw 3 more red envelopes in front of her eyes. There are so many red envelopes today, it's so scary. And why did she have so many relatives when she woke up? Jiao Shuking could only nod. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at each of her 3 brothers and sisters. "Thank you, eldest brother, second brother, and cousin." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 509. Chapter 509. The Chang Family. Jiao Ningxun touched her head. "You're welcome, take good care of yourself. When you're cured, my cousin will take you to eat delicious food and have fun." Zhang Xiaoxiao grinned and said, "Thank you very much, cousin." "Cousin, you are so beautiful." Jiao Ningxun raised her eyebrows. "You look very cute too." Zhang Xiaoxiao was very happy. Jiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang had many things they wanted to ask Jiao Shuking, so they asked Zhang Xiaoxiao to rest while they went to the living room and sat and talked. By noon, the family still didn't want to separate, so Jiao Ningxun could only order take-away food for them to eat. It was the first time for Lao Jiao's family to come to the capital. Even if it was takeout, Jiao Ningxun also ordered a lot of food. Abalone, lobster, chicken, duck, fish, beef, sheep, and pork are all available. As for Zhang Xiaoxiao, she can only eat nutritious porridge. However, she could only smell the fragrance from the hospital bed and couldn't see what they were eating in the living room, so they didn't make any noise and went to sleep after eating. This is the first time for Jiao Shuking to have such a sumptuous meal outside with her family. She is very worried about affecting the future college life of her children. "Ningxun, these are too sumptuous. Don't order them like this in the future. Our family can just eat whatever we want." Good. Jiao Ningxun smiled and said, "Auntie, I really have money, so just eat." Ye Kaixiang also said, "Ningxun is a little rich woman now. She has more money than us and her mother. She won't be able to eat enough for this meal." Jiao Shuking had nothing to say. The family eats happily. After eating, the old Jiao family wanted to continue to guard Jiao Shuking, but Jiao Ningxun said that nothing would happen here. There were too many people here, and the patients could not rest well. Jiao Shulan then suggested that she and her parents go to the police station to ask about the driver who hit Zhang Xiaoxiao. No one had any objections, so Jiao Ningxun took them away. When Jiao Shuking and her daughter were the only ones left in the ward, Jiao Shuking thought for a while and opened the red envelopes that her children had received one by one. Jiao Shuking breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that each red envelope was worth 10,000 yuan. It seemed that what Ningxun said was true, and he didn't deliberately say that the conditions at home were getting better just to make her feel at ease. With the ability to spend 10,000 yuan at a time, my family must be living a good life now. After Jiao Ningxun and others went there, the police informed them that the arrested man had a criminal record and his family was in good condition. In order to seek leniency, I am willing to compensate Zhang Xiaoxiao for all her medical expenses and other expenses. They didn't stop at the police station any longer. Professional matters are left to professionals. Under the recommendation of the police, Jiao Ningxun found a lawyer to handle this matter specifically. Since the three of them had arrived by plane overnight and had talked so much in the morning, Jiao Ningxun brought the three of them to her residence, intending to let them have a good rest. Jiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang were old and indeed tired, so they did not refuse. Jiao Shulan was also a little tired and agreed. Soon, the three of them returned to Jiao Ningxun's home. Jiao Shulan bought the house together with Jiao Ningxun, so she was not very curious about the house. This was the first time Jiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang saw their granddaughter's house in the capital, and they looked excitedly up and down the stairs. Several people came to the rooftop garden. Ye Kaixiang looked at the green vegetables and fruit trees and nodded with a smile. I felt relieved when I saw there was a vegetable field here. There are a lot of pesticides on the vegetables and fruits outside. You were used to eating organic vegetables at home before. I'm afraid you won't adapt. Jiao Ningxun, Grandma, don't worry, I won't treat myself badly. Jiao Shulan just looked at her daughter's refrigerator and asked, Ningxun, those things in the refrigerator. It doesn't look like it was bought by my daughter. After all, it is too expensive. Even if my daughter has money, she is not that lavish at home. Jiao Ningxun smiled, nothing can be hidden from mom's eyes. It is prepared by the Suo family. They will send people to fill my refrigerator regularly. Jiao Shulan nodded, knowing that the Suo family would not ignore their daughter. Ye Kaixiang suddenly yawned. Jiao Ningxun arranged for them to live in 2 secondary bedrooms. After they all finished washing and resting, she returned to her room and continued working on her medical business. After He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Hui came back at night, Jiao Kongsheng and Ye Kaixiang woke up just in time to have dinner and visited their house. They were completely relieved to see that they were living well. The next day, Jiao Ningxun took her family to the hospital to see Jiao Shuking and her daughter. As soon as a few people arrived at the door, they heard a strange voice coming from the door. People in the village said they saw you in the capital, but I didn't believe it. I didn't expect you were really here. What is this? Red envelopes? There are actually several of them. There are tens of thousands here. What did you do to get people to give you so many red envelopes? Don't think it will be fine if you don't speak. When you left, you took away all my eldest brother's money. My grandparents were very angry with you. These money should be considered as compensation for your grandparents. Jiao Ningxun opened the door and saw a strange man and woman inside. She figured out the identity of the two of them with a little calculation. They are the Zhang family, named Zhang Liuzheng, and his wife Zhen Yingying, who is Zhang Xiaoxiao's father's younger brother and sister-in-law. When Jiao Shuking was in the Zhang family, the two of them bullied Jiao Shuking a lot in the name of the old man of the Zhang family. After Jiao Shuking gave birth to a daughter, the Zhang family, which favored sons over daughters, became even more harsh on her. Zhen Yingying even gave birth to 2 sons by herself. She often showed off her power in front of Jiao Shuking, and several times she thought about taking away Zhang Xiaoxiao's good things. Jiao Ningxun saw that the red envelopes they gave were all in Zhang Liusheng's hands, and while he was stunned, he quickly grabbed them. Zhang Liuzheng saw that the money he had received was gone, and he immediately became angry. You girl, why did you rob me of my money? That's my money. Jiao Ningxun glanced at the red envelope in his hand and said coldly, your money? This is a meeting gift from our family to Xiao Xiao. Zhang Liuzheng was stunned. Meeting gift? Jiao Kongsheng stood at the front. Xiao Xiao is my granddaughter, and Xiaoxiao's mother is my eldest daughter. Ye Kaixiang, I am Xiaoxiao's grandma. He Yuan Yang and He Yuan Hui also stood next to their grandfather, looking at the Zhang couple coldly. I am Xiaoxiao's half-brother. I am Xiaoxiao's second half-brother. Jiao Shulan said, I am Xiaoxiao's second aunt. Jiao Ningxun said quietly, I am Xiaoxio's cousin. Zhen Yingying frowned and said, are you Jiao Shuking's family? Jiao Kongsheng, that's right. Zhang Liu's Hung quickly came to his senses and looked at the red envelope in Jiao Ningxun's hand. You guys showed up just in time. After Jiao Shuking left with a smile, we found that all my eldest brother's savings were gone, which made my grandfather lose his fortune. She has a serious fire and a serious illness, so you can give her 100,000 yuan. Perhaps it was because her family members were around to support her. When Jiao Shuking saw the Zhang family, she no longer looked scared as before, and said loudly, you are talking nonsense. After Xiaoxio's father died, you forced me to give him his savings. I took it all out, and you forced me to give it to Xiaoxio's grandpa. When I left, the money in my hand was all earned from doing odd jobs, and the total was only 2,000 yuan. Back before I became a vegetative state, I became an immortal and invincible. Author, Qing Jue Chen Chen. Chapter 510. Chapter 510 Report. Zhang Liu's Hung snorted, you said the money was divided, did you divide it? You said you only brought 2,000, is it 2,000? I don't believe it. Zhen Yingying said angrily, that's right, we said you took 100,000 yuan with you, but you took 100,000 yuan with you. Return the money to us quickly, otherwise we will call the police. Jiao Ningxun said quietly, if you have the guts, retaliate. If you don't, I will retaliate for you. Zhang Liu's Hung was stunned, aren't you afraid that Jiao Shuking will be arrested? Jiao Ningxun sneered, what am I afraid of? Even if my aunt takes away her husband's bank card, it is still the property of the couple. What law has been violated? If you think my aunt's inheritance is unfair, you can let Xiaoxio's grandparents go to court and sue. No matter what, you are not worthy of asking my aunt to hand over the money. What's more, the 100,000 yuan was just made up by you just to extort 100,000 yuan from my aunt. After finishing speaking, she called 110 in front of everyone, hello, I want to call the police. My family has been extorted. The location is, okay. Jiao Shuking looked at Jiao Ningxun blankly. My younger sister is similar to her, both have weak tempers. I didn't expect that the daughter I gave birth to has such a strong personality. She called the police when she said she was going to call the police. She is so courageous. As expected of a top student, it's no wonder that life at home is getting better and better. Zhang Liu's Hung panicked immediately. He didn't expect Jiao Ningxun to actually call the police. Why do you say we are extorting money? We are just asking for the money back for my grandfather. Jiao Ningxun said coldly, why? I said, I want evidence. Zhang Liusheng's eyes flashed, I can't produce it. My elder brother Zhang Liuqi said it casually. Now that the person is dead, where can I find evidence for you? Jiao Ningxun, that means you can't produce evidence. If you can't produce it, it's blackmail. Zhen Yingying suddenly became angry and stepped forward to slap Jiao Ningxun. It just happened that she seemed to be too excited and accidentally tripped her left foot over her right foot, and suddenly fell to the ground like an octopus. Jiao Ningxun mocked, dare you beat someone in the capital? Do you think our Chinese laws are just for show? He Yuanyang said, fortunately, you fell down. Otherwise, if you were slapped, if you didn't spend 6 figures in compensation, you would be waiting to go to jail. Zhen Yingying was startled. Seeing that their expressions did not look like they were joking, she rolled her eyes and suddenly rolled on the ground. Oh, they hit someone, they killed someone, help, help. He Yuanhui said contemptuously, idiot, this is a VIP ward. Do you think there is no surveillance? Now, if you blackmail and frame others to beat yourself, you will be punished for several crimes. I guess you can spend more time in jail. Zhen Yingying, who was rolling, stopped and looked around in horror. Sure enough, she found a camera in the corner. Zhang Liu's Hung quickly helped Zhen Yingying up and cursed angrily, "Don't make any trouble for me." Zhen Yingying stood up with a stern expression and hid behind her husband. Zhang Liu's Hung frowned and looked at Jiao Shuking, "Hurry up and give me the money. Just give it to me and leave." Jiao Shuking, "I have no money." Zhang Liu's Hung, "I have heard it all. The person who hit your child wants a settlement. If you give me the settlement money, I will never come to you again." Jiao Ningxun sneered, "You are so shameless. Do you think I reported a false police report?" As soon as she finished speaking, there was a sudden knock on the door. Jiao Ningxun immediately stepped forward to open the door, and 4 policemen quickly entered the room. The old policeman said, "Someone just called the police saying that there is extortion here. Who is the person involved?" Jiao Ningxun stepped forward and said, "I am the one who called the police. These 2 people are my aunt's dead husband's brother and sister-in-law. In order to get something for nothing, they actually framed my aunt for taking her husband's 100,000 yuan. They robbed her as soon as they came. My aunt's red envelope, thank you for snatching it back. I asked them for proof that my aunt took 100,000 yuan, but they couldn't produce it. Zhen Yingying fell down on her own just now and falsely accused us of beating her." Recorded. Seeing all the police officers looking at him, Zhang Liu's Hung hurriedly explained, "I came here to ask for money on my grandfather's order, not for extortion." Jiao Ningxun said calmly, "Your grandfather suffered from Alzheimer's disease many years ago. How can a man who is not mentally healthy still give you orders?" Zhang Liu's Hung said bravely, "Of course." Jiao Ningxun, "Really? Then your grandpa is the mastermind behind this. It's really unfilial. Your grandpa is already half dead, but he was framed by his grandson." Zhang Liu's Hung was panicked. The old policeman said to Zhang Liu's Hung, "She is right. Even if the wife takes away the joint property, you are just brothers. You are not qualified to come and ask for it. What's more, you have no evidence. That can only mean that you are extorting. Let's take a trip." Zhang Liu's Hung suddenly became anxious, I won't go, I don't want the money, please let me go." Jiao Shuking's body trembled. She was really afraid that Zhang Liu's Hung could escape smoothly this time. When he was in Shenzhen, this man and Zhen Yingying often bullied their husband and wife. Things that are good to eat, drink, and useful are often snatched away by them. Even Zhang Xiaoxiao was often scolded and beaten by them, telling her to hide away when she saw these 2 people. These 2 people know that she is in the capital, and it is estimated that she will not have a good life in the capital in the future. Jiao Ningxun calmed down and said, "It's too late if you say you don't want the money now." As she said that, she looked at the old policeman and said, "I want to report this person named Zhang Liu's Hung. A month ago, he and his wife arrived in the capital from Shanghai in the middle of the night. Because they didn't calculate the time well, they arrived at exactly 12 o'clock in the morning. It was difficult to rent a house at night, and they couldn't afford to spend money to stay in a hotel, so they planned to stay at the self-service bank for one night. A girl also came back from a business trip in the middle of the night and passed by them on the way. Seeing how pitiful they were, she gave them food. But Zhang Liu's Hung repaid his kindness with revenge. Seeing that there was no one around, he followed the girl and wanted to bully the girl. The girl resisted desperately, but Zhen Yingying actually helped her husband to bully the girl. After they succeeded, because the girl saw their faces, the couple killed the person and threw him into the sewer. The sewer led to all directions, so the police discovered the victim yesterday. The expressions of all the police officers suddenly became extremely cold and stern, staring at Zhang Liu's Hung and his wife. "These 2 people are so vicious." The old policeman said sternly, "Zhang Liu's Hung, do you admit the accusation just now or not?" Zhang Liu's Hung and Zhen Yingying swallowed at the same time. How did Jiao Ningxun know what they had done before? Jiao Ningxun said coldly, "It's useless if you don't admit it. Just investigate the tickets you bought a month ago, and then investigate the self-service bank you stayed at and the nearby surveillance cameras, and everything will be revealed.